A gastroenterologist who dedicated many years to studying and combating digestive ailments has travelled a long and rich path. His career, which began during the Soviet era, encompassed work in various medical institutions, from a bustling city polyclinic where he saw dozens of patients daily to a hospital handling the most complex and intricate cases, and even a sanatorium focused on recovery and disease prevention. This rich and diverse experience allowed the doctor to accumulate unique knowledge and a deep understanding of the human body's functions, and now, he confidently states, health is not an area where one can afford compromises or attempts to deceive oneself. It demands careful handling, respect, and constant attention, for it is our most valuable and irreplaceable resource. Today, we will discuss a problem that affects a vast number of people across the globe and becomes particularly relevant after the age of 40. It's a topic many prefer to avoid, perhaps due to feelings of awkwardness or an underestimation of its serious consequences. However, day after day, this problem, like a silent and invisible enemy, poisons existence, significantly reducing the quality of life. We are talking about constipation, a condition many mistakenly consider only a minor and temporary discomfort. But is that truly the case? Let's address this delicate issue without undue embarrassment. Constipation is not merely an occasional delay in bowel movements, it is a specific medical condition characterized by fewer than 3 bowel movements within a 7-day period. To an outside observer, this might seem like a minor inconvenience, yet people who experience this ailment will unanimously agree that it is far from trivial. It is a serious, debilitating problem capable of significantly altering one's daily routine. Stools become dense, requiring significant effort and causing painful sensations during elimination, and there is no feeling of complete satisfaction after a bowel movement. Often, there is a feeling of incomplete emptying of the intestines, as if some heaviness and unfinished business remain inside. It should be noted that this condition negatively impacts more than just bowel function. Prolonged constipation can lead to uncomfortable abdominal bloating, a persistent feeling of heaviness, a noticeable decrease in appetite, and a deterioration of the skin, which loses its freshness and healthy appearance. A person suffering from constipation often becomes prone to nervousness and irritability, experiences restless sleep, and sees a significant decline in work performance. What appears to be a minor problem can, in fact, substantially worsen overall quality of life, robbing individuals of joy and vitality. The causes of constipation are diverse and often interconnected. The most common factors include irrational eating habits, a complete lack or insufficient physical activity, as well as emotional shocks or even a change of environment that disrupts one's usual lifestyle. For instance, many people's habit of having a strong cup of coffee or tea with a caloric sandwich in the morning negatively affects intestinal peristalsis, the wave-like contractions that move food through the digestive tract. Insufficient fluid intake throughout the day also means the intestines lack moisture to soften their contents and facilitate their elimination. After 40, many people lead sedentary lives, spending most of their time sitting at a desk, in a car, or in front of the television. This weakens abdominal muscles and slows down intestinal peristalsis, making it difficult for stool to pass effectively. The outcome of such a lifestyle, unfortunately, is predictable. Medical practice shows that specialists encounter patients with various histories, all united by a common problem. One patient, a 52-year-old engineer, spent almost his entire life sitting, starting his day with quick coffee, then sitting until evening, snacking on sandwiches and having a late, heavy dinner. He was so accustomed to constipation that he considered it an unavoidable part of his life. However, over time, the chronic discomfort became unbearable and forced him to seek medical help. When asked about his diet the day before, he replied, "A sandwich, cookies, coffee, as usual." The doctor had to explain a simple but important truth to the patient. The intestines, as a sensitive organ, react negatively to such neglectful eating habits. After several weeks of simple but regular dietary changes and incorporating daily walks into his routine, the patient transformed. He noted that he felt light and free, as if he had been reborn. This case clearly demonstrates how small changes can bring significant results. Constipation often accompanies a number of chronic ailments, such as diabetes, metabolic syndrome, chronic gastritis, and hypertension. These conditions are closely intertwined with a person's lifestyle and diet. Therefore, before resorting to medication, doctors recommend that patients start small by changing at least one unhealthy habit. This step is often the starting point for recovery. What specific actions can be taken? First and foremost, you need to move more. This doesn't mean strenuous workouts. Daily leisurely walks are sufficient. Even 20-30 minutes of such activity can activate abdominal muscles, stimulating intestinal peristalsis. Regular eating is an important aspect, meaning consuming meals at the same time each day, accustoming the body to a specific schedule. The intestines, like any other organ, appreciate predictability and routine. The diet should include fiber-rich foods such as beets, carrots, and green salads with olive oil. Fiber, being indigestible, acts like a sponge, absorbing water and increasing stool volume, making it easier to pass. In the morning, you can drink a cup of natural coffee, which gently stimulates bowel function. At the same time, you should avoid processed foods, fatty meats, sugary sodas, and sweet pastries, as these products negatively affect digestion, slowing down peristalsis. There's no need to go to extremes or seek overly complex solutions. You don't need to chase exotic smoothie ingredients or buy expensive equipment like blenders and juicers, as some modern doctors often recommend. The author of these lines has always advocated for simplicity and accessibility. Today, he will share 3 time-tested drinks that will help normalize bowel movements, even for those who have suffered from this problem for years. No special equipment is required for their preparation. Everything is so elementary that the results will surprise you with their simplicity. It is guaranteed that with regular adherence to these recommendations, significant changes will occur within just a few days. So, the first drink you can prepare today is ordinary chamomile tea. But we're not talking about packaged tea from the supermarket, which often contains only a small fraction of beneficial substances, but a simple decoction made from dried pharmacy chamomile flowers. Why chamomile? Because it has an amazingly gentle yet reliable effect. In Soviet times, dried chamomile was in almost every home medicine cabinet. It was given to children to calm them, to older people for improved digestion, to those who were nervous to relieve stress, and, of course, to those with stomach problems. And today, the author strongly recommends it again as the #1 remedy for constipation and general bowel dysfunction. Preparing chamomile tea is a process accessible to everyone. All you need is 1 tablespoon of dried chamomile flowers, which can easily be purchased at any pharmacy. The flowers should be poured over with 3 cups of boiling water, and then the container covered with a lid to steep for an hour. After this time, the infusion must be thoroughly strained, using a fine sieve or cheesecloth. The resulting drink is recommended to be consumed instead of regular tea, 3 to 4 times a day in small portions. It is important to note that chamomile not only has a stimulating effect on the intestines, but also delicately reduces inflammation in the mucous membrane, soothes irritated areas, and eliminates discomfort and spasms in the abdominal area. Medical practice knows many cases where the healing properties of chamomile provided invaluable assistance to patients. One such example is the story of Nikolai Sergeyevich, a train driver with many years of experience. His work, involving an irregular schedule and irregular eating, led to serious bowel problems. By the age of 60, he suffered from constant bloating, a feeling of heaviness and chronic constipation. Numerous medications did not provide the desired relief, causing side effects. Then the doctor advised him to temporarily stop taking pills and start drinking chamomile tea. Initially, the patient was skeptical of this advice, but decided to try it. A month later, Nikolai Sergeyevich happily reported that chamomile tea had restored his normal life. This case clearly demonstrates how a simple, natural remedy can improve a person's quality of life. However, it should be remembered that the effectiveness of chamomile manifests with regular use. Do not expect instant results, as this remedy acts gently and gradually, accumulating its effect over time. As the next strengthening drink, fresh carrot juice is worth considering, which, despite its apparent simplicity, will require some effort to prepare. A juicer becomes a necessary condition here, and if you already have one in your arsenal, you should not neglect its useful functions. It's an investment in your own health. But why does carrot juice deserve special attention? The answer lies in its rich composition, including pectins, fiber, and beta-carotene, known for its powerful antioxidant properties. Carrot juice has a gentle stimulating effect on the intestines, increasing their tone while simultaneously saturating the body with valuable vitamins and trace elements. However, it should be consumed in moderation, no more than once a week. Excessive indulgence in this drink can lead to a temporary slight yellowish tint to the skin, due to the high carotene content. Do not be alarmed by this phenomenon. It poses no danger to health, although it may cause some aesthetic embarrassment. Preparing carrot juice is not particularly difficult. Simply take fresh, thoroughly washed carrots, extract the juice with a juicer, and drink it at a convenient time, preferably in the first half of the day. This drink is not intended for daily consumption, but rather serves as a weekly yet very effective support for the intestines and the entire body. However, there is a third remedy, perhaps the most significant and effective of all those discussed. This is a true deliverance that has provided invaluable help to many sufferers, restoring normal bowel function and alleviating years of agonizing problems with defecation. Notably, its preparation does not require expensive equipment like juicers or blenders. We are talking about a glass of ordinary kefir with added psyllium husk, also known as psyllium. Psyllium is now available in almost any pharmacy or health food store, although it was not so widely known a few years ago. What is the secret of its effectiveness? The husk of psyllium seeds has an amazing ability to absorb water in enormous quantities. Once it enters the intestines, it swells and transforms into a soft, gel-like substance that significantly eases and promotes the smooth, comfortable passage of digested food through the intestines. How do you prepare this miraculous drink? It's incredibly simple. You need 1 glass of fresh, room-temperature kefir, while avoiding cold to prevent spasms. Add 2 teaspoons of psyllium to it, mix thoroughly until a uniform consistency is achieved, and drink immediately. It is recommended to consume this drink in the evening, 1 to 2 hours before bedtime. You can feel significant improvements in bowel function as early as the next morning. A case comes to mind involving an elderly teacher, Galina Vasilyevna, who suffered from irritable bowel syndrome, manifesting as severe pain, constant bloating, and extremely irregular bowel movements. Her life had turned into a series of torments, and she had lost all hope of recovery. After the doctor recommended trying this simple drink with psyllium, to the doctor's surprise, she returned for an appointment just a week later and, unable to hide her tears of joy, exclaimed, "Doctor, I never dreamed I'd live to see the day when I wake up in the morning and don't have to think about my bowels. It's a true miracle." And a month later, Galina Vasilyevna had completely forgotten about her digestive problems. Once again, a simple solution without complex chemical drugs or high costs yielded such astonishing results. It is important to realize that the key to intestinal health lies not in expensive medications, but in consistently performing simple actions. There is no need to seek complex solutions. The main thing is regularity. Only then can sustainable results be achieved. Next, we will discuss what to avoid if you aim for a long-term solution to bowel problems. There are certain foods and habits that can nullify even the most active attempts to normalize digestion. We have already discussed beneficial actions for impeccable bowel function, but it is equally important to understand that some foods and daily habits can destroy even the most significant successes and bring you back to square one. Experience shows that many patients, meticulously following all recommendations, overlook the need to exclude harmful factors. As a result, the problem recurs, becoming chronic. Therefore, the main enemies of a healthy gut, which should be abandoned immediately and forever, will be named below. The first, and perhaps most insidious enemy of healthy digestion, is processed meats and sausages, which have become an integral part of the modern diet. Their popularity is easy to understand. After a long day at work, when energy is low, one's hand instinctively reaches for a package of hot dogs or sausage that can be quickly fried and eaten with bread, creating a complete dinner. However, such simplicity turns into a real trap for the digestive system. The fact is that processed foods are packed with preservatives, flavor enhancers, dyes, and excessive amounts of salt, all of which have an extremely negative impact on the intestines. Instead of smoothly and naturally moving through the digestive tract, such food seems to get stuck, causing stagnation. The body simply cannot effectively digest and assimilate such a chemical attack. As a result, unpleasant symptoms such as abdominal bloating, a constant feeling of heaviness, and ultimately chronic constipation arise. It is important to understand that there can be no exceptions here. Do not be fooled into thinking that expensive or farm-fresh sausages are a safer alternative. They are just as harmful to your health. If a person truly strives to normalize bowel function and get rid of agonizing problems with bowel movements, they should forever forget about the existence of processed meats. It is much wiser to replace them with simple and healthy dishes, such as boiled or baked lean meat, supplemented with fresh vegetables or grains. Of course, preparing such food will require a little more time and effort, but as practice shows, it is worth it. After all, health is a priceless gift that must be cherished. The second, often overlooked enemy of healthy digestion is a fondness for pastries and white bread. We are not talking about an occasional treat of homemade pie on holidays, but about the systematic consumption of baked goods, a morning bun, an afternoon cookie, an evening sandwich with white bread. These products are made from refined, high-grade flour, practically devoid of valuable dietary fibers, which play a key role in normal bowel function. As a result, the body receives an excess of simple carbohydrates which do not contribute to the formation of healthy stool. On the contrary, they form a dense, difficult-to-digest mass in the intestines, causing constipation. Fresh pastries are especially insidious, possessing the property of cementing the intestines, causing stagnation and a feeling of discomfort. When patients complain of abdominal heaviness, bloating, and bowel problems, the first thing the doctor ascertains is the frequency of consumption of baked goods. And, as a rule, the answer is, how can I live without bread every day? The doctor patiently explains that to improve well-being and boost energy, white bread should be replaced with rye or whole grain bread, or its consumption should be minimized. Optimal alternatives include porridges, such as oatmeal or buckwheat, vegetable side dishes, or even a small portion of sauerkraut. The positive effect will not be long in coming, and now appears the third, perhaps the trickiest, opponent: carbonated drinks and sugary juices in bright packaging. It's understandable that their taste is appealing, and many have grown accustomed to these sweet liquids since childhood, but every glass of soda creates a real explosion inside the intestines. The gas, sugar, and synthetic dyes packed into these products irritate the intestinal walls, causing painful bloating and significantly slowing down peristalsis, ultimately leading to chronic constipation. Even those drinks actively promoted in advertising as healthy juices, nectars, or lemonades with natural flavors are essentially the same chemical mixture with sugar, just in a more appealing guise. Medical practice shows how detrimental an addiction to such drinks can be. Once, when the author of these lines worked as a doctor in a sanatorium, a patient, a former athlete, now an office worker, came to him suffering from serious digestive problems. Medical examination did not reveal any serious illnesses, but constipation tormented him daily. The doctor asked the patient to describe his daily drinking habits in detail. It turned out that every morning he drank a glass of soda, packaged juice during the day, and soda again in the evening. After the patient gave up these harmful habits and switched to plain clean water, herbal decoctions, or weak tea, his intestines fully recovered in just 2 weeks. He was amazed at how simple the solution to his long-standing problem was, lying right on the surface. Caring for intestinal health does not require exorbitant spending on medications or exhausting diets. The path to well-being begins with elementary, yet significant, lifestyle changes. Eliminating one harmful product from your diet, adding a beneficial drink, or taking a short but regular walk, this is a simple and effective recipe applicable at any age. If you have read this far and started thinking about your well-being, you can consider half the battle won. Remember that health is a valuable gift that requires attention and care. Be healthy and take care of yourself, and until next time.